those of you that have a son or daughter in grade 8, chances are that you've already attended an information night at your grade 8 school. Anybody attended one? Yep. Okay, great, good. And you would have received a pamphlet about grade choices. I guess, yeah, this is last year, so I think this year's looks a little different. And it has a lot of information. We'll talk, you probably saw these slides that I'm going to use. I'm not using all of them, but for those that were not at one of these meetings, this will give you the information that will be helpful. So from kindergarten on, we have a ministry document called Creating Pathways to Success. And in this document, one of the model sort of logos or graphs is how we are helping our students with education and career life planning. And notice we're not only talking about career, but we're also talking about, in holistic terms, about life itself. And so throughout our life, it never stops. We are looking at evaluating what are our interests, what are our strengths, what are we good at, what do we want to do next in terms of the opportunities that are available to us in relation to what we want to be, who we want to become, and we set plans on achieving those goals. So it's a lifelong skill that we are developing throughout school and very important for life. So these are some of the aspects of those 4 areas of concern and how we deal with it. So one of the things that you may know about is that every student in grade 1 to 6, they have an All About Me portfolio. Once they're in grade 7 and up, they use the My Blueprint website to continue their planning. And it's called Individuals Pathways Plan. They do that through grade 7 right up to grade 12. I'll talk about that in a minute, in that as a parent, not only does your son or daughter have this, access to this, but you do too. So as a parent, you would use this website, make sure you have TDSB at the end, select the school your son or daughter is at, and you can create an account as a parent. So after you, and you can choose to be a student or a teacher or a parent, and you can choose that. Your son or daughter can also have you linked to see exactly what they have done on the website, or not. But they have that option, so you can talk to them about it. So I'm going to be pretty quick about these things. So as a family, you can help in many ways in this whole process. As parents, you are the most influential in these choices that they will be making. So besides attending an information night at your grade 8 school, the secondary schools have open houses. And again, those already have started. Who's already attended one? 1, 2, 3. Whoa, wonderful. You're doing a good job. All right. So these are ongoing. Most of them will be in November and December. There might be a few even in January. Again, very good ways to learn more about some of your choices in schools. So there's lots of, we have over 100 secondary schools in Toronto. And basically, you pretty well have a choice to go to any one of them. There are some that are termed closed schools. In other words, they only have room for the people living within their boundaries. But every other school is open to applications. So you will be doing this. It's not a one-day affair. It's something that's going to be ongoing. But by late February, you will have made your key choices in terms of the transition from grade 8 to grade 9. You can learn about schools. First of all, it would be good to find your school. Means according to your address, you're guaranteed acceptance at a school that's within your area, usually the school that's closest to you. But you also have an option to choose other schools called through optional attendance. So first of all, make sure you know what your own school is. There may be different patterns if your son or daughter is in a French immersion program or things like that. Generally, this will give you the information according to your address. And so you have a lot of information that's online. Also, if your ward has a newsletter, like Trustee Ken Lister's, he has a lot of information on his website and his newsletter on all of these things that are happening in his ward and additional wards. So in TDSB, we have many specialized schools. So sometimes these are standalone schools, like the Rosedale Art School for the Performing Arts, or the Etobicoke School for the Arts, and so forth. Other times, specialized programs are within another school, like here in Earl Hague, we've got the Claude Watson School for the Arts, living in the same building. These programs usually require another application, an earlier application. So for example, Claude Watson here, probably in December, you already will have an information night specifically about their programs, and you will receive application forms that need to be used if you want your son or daughter to be in them. So, a lot of it has to do with making course choices. And so I'll talk a little bit about that, usually using this graph. When your son or daughter applies to grade 9, in each subject area, there are different types of courses. So let's take English, for example. There's English that's applied, academic, locally developed, and then English is not an open course, but there are courses that are open. There are also K courses. These are for students that are not able to do the work of a credit course, but they continue going to school, and they have a variety of sort of life skills courses that they can take during their years in high school. Now, an important thing to consider is, number one, you have to choose this a little bit by their success in grade 7 and 8. Generally, the courses cover more or less, especially between applied and academic, much the same material, but a different approach, maybe more theoretical academically, and a little more hands-on for applied. The other part is looking at how well they've done. If they have not done well, they may be going into a locally developed course, which gives them a chance to catch up on work that they may have missed in grade 7 and 8 and so forth. But this has consequences if your destination is to go on to university. For university applications, you need 6 courses that are in grade 12 that are university or combined university college preparation. To get into those courses, most of the time you're better off taking academic courses that lead to that. It is possible to do that from applied courses in grade 9 and 10, and this is sort of simplified. You're never really boxed in to one pathway. You can always change some of the courses so that you can apply to different ones, but generally, if you're doing the academic, that gives you pretty well a opportunity to go into anything else in the grade 11 and 12 area. Let me catch my breath again. To graduate, you need 30 credits. 18 of them are compulsory. For example, you need English in grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's in other cases, you've got a number of, once you're in grade 11 and 12, you're choosing a lot of courses that are according to what you have, your son or daughter has in mind for post-secondary. And there's a community involvement and literacy requirement in grade 10 or thereafter, depending when you're ready. Programs. So many homeschools have these programs. I've shown you some brochures of these are called specialist high skills major programs. So pretty well every secondary school has one or more of these. Then there's co-op in grade 11 and 12 where you can earn credits by working and tying it in with courses in school, technological programs. Some of the schools have more stuff on skills and technologies, and many schools can participate, or do participate in dual credit where they can earn credits at school that are also, they can use for credit in college. And basically you get to double the money for each course that you take. You get both a high school credit and a college credit. Oh, I forgot, oh yeah, very important, preparation for apprenticeship, again through work placements that are in apprenticeship occupations. Optional attendance is very important, so if you want to go to a school other than your home school, you will be filling out a form that has to be given to the secondary school by February 3rd. By February 17th, you'll know whether you got into the school that you applied to. And basically, you're allowed 2 specialized schools and 2 sort of regular schools in the number of forms you can put in. Once you find out, you have to choose one of them, and by March 3rd, you will be choosing the courses that your son or daughter wants in grade 9. And you submit. And that ends my section. Have I almost done it in time?
No.
No. I tried so hard.
I know you did.
Okay.
All right, we're going to talk about planning for post-secondary. Were there any questions, brief questions regarding the section we've just gone through?
Are we getting this presentation?
We'll be putting it on our website. And I'm not quite sure exactly when. It's usually within a couple of weeks. All right, and then it will be available. So now we're going to talk about the transition from high school into post-secondary, or what other pathway is going to be selected. As you can see, we've got 5+, and the plus is the gap year, because it's not really a formal pathway yet, but it is becoming more talked about and accepted. So we've got the transitions to either apprenticeship, college, university, workplace, or in some cases, students will be looking at community living when they finish school. Their leaving date is usually when they're age 21, because they're learners that have been in specialized programs for students with disabilities and or cognitive disabilities. And then the gap year. So moving right along, we are entering the 4th industrial revolution, folks, in case you didn't know it. How many people knew that? Okay, new information. As you know, we had the industrial revolution, and we had the technology revolution, and now we have the whatever the fourth is, the robotic. Is it the robotic?
Thinking robots.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence, AI, is going to be a big thing in this new revolution, industrial revolution. The Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, lots of cars going around, appearing to look as though nobody's doing anything inside, which is terrifying, but there you go. 3D printing, which is actually already well on its way, and it's probably going to revolutionize industry eventually. Nanotechnology, biotechnology, and genetic engineering, which we're starting to see examples of. Materials science, I suppose that's new materials. I'm not really okay on that one at the moment. Energy storage, which might be the cloud, I guess, and probably other aspects of the new revolution. And quantum computing, and there's more probably being developed as we speak, and maybe they've already been developed, they're just not on the list. In order to move into this new technology, this new industrial revolution, it kind of goes back to the beginning where we're looking at the individual learning plans that are being developed and thinking about who am I? And what you need to have for the 21st century knowledge and skills are some critical characteristics, and here they are. Creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Because jobs are going to change, new jobs are going to be developed that we don't even know about. Old ones that we do know about are going to become like, you know, so many things. Coachmen, for example, driving carriages are now not, I mean, who needs a coachman? But a chauffeur, on the other hand, so they morph into something else. So looking at how these skills develop and promoting them along the way is really important for this industry. So we've got collaboration, kind of teamwork. And you know, being able to work together is really important. It always has been important, but it's becoming more so. Communication, not just talking to each other, but all forms of communication, tweeting and whatnot. How our character has developed and the kind of characteristics we display, and that goes back to the collaboration. And culture and ethical citizenship has changed. Culture is changing. You know, ethics within society are under review and under attack in some places. So we always have to be vigilant and look at how things are developing. And these are all important aspects of moving into this new industrial revolution. Computer and digital technologies. And this all came from Shifting Minds. And it's available for you to review. When you sort of consider, when your child is considering and you are considering with them the kind of future that they see for themselves, it's based on so many things. What programs they like in school, what subjects they're good at, what they see themselves doing. Do they like to do rather than to think? You know, do they want to spend their days behind a desk or be out doing something? So this might have an impact on the selections that they make. So, do they want to go into an apprenticeship? Do they want to go on to college, university? Do they want to go straight to work, maybe earn some money, and then consider going back to post-secondary? And that could be, they may have, during high school, created some sort of little job that they want to expand as an entrepreneur. And there are funds available for that sort of creativity. Maybe community living is an aspect. And when a child is in a school where they're now going to be out into the world of work, there are programs that are available. Schools that often have fairs for industries and community agencies that cater for students in this situation. There's not enough, I may add. There's not enough at all, and it's an aspect that we really need to develop. And then some may choose to do the gap year to do some of these other things, you know, the entrepreneur thing, or to work, or to learn a language, or perfect a language. Or go back and pick up a course that they didn't complete or need to complete. And so these are all things that need to be considered. And I know parents get very nervous in many cases. And in our previous workshops this morning, parents have indicated that it makes them nervous, thinking that their kid may not go back to university if they take a year off. Because, you know, but they do. We have, one of the wonderful things about education here in Ontario is that we give there's always the opportunity of going back to post-secondary or even to pick up courses from high school that may have been missed. And so, even though it may come as a shock if your child decides not to go the pathway straight into college or university, don't despair, because by the end of the day, about over 70% of people in Ontario have some form of post-secondary education. And about 85% of students leave high school with their high school diploma. So the news is very, very encouraging. Preparation for apprenticeship. Well, one of the things that you need to do and is to get hired by an employer who is certified, him or herself. In order to become a journey person, you have to have been taught by a journey person, somebody with a license, a certified license, in the trade that they're particularly interested in. Previous experience is usually helpful. And some of the things, the way they can get that experience is taking relevant courses in high school, the youth apprenticeship program that Emil referred to. There's pre-apprenticeship programs and colleges for skilled trades, and most of the trades have an association with college because there are some college components to many of the apprenticeable trades. Register with local apprenticeship office, that would be probably the ministry. Apply for grants and supports, and they are available, and it is a great way of getting an education and getting, many of the college courses can be paid for or subsidized. And also, of course, you're earning money when you're an apprentice. And which increases year over year as your skills increase. And let's see, you'll have to, these are some of the things that need to be done. Learn, you need to record your hours, develop competences, and of course the earning component. And then hopefully towards the end you will qualify for your license. College prep. The important thing to do here is to apply. And you apply to OCAS, the Ontario Colleges of Application Service. And the site opened in October. And the fee is $95 for 5 program selections. And I believe that only 3 can be at the same college. So if you want to go for the 5, then it would be 3 at George Brown and 2 at Seneca, or whatever college is the college of your choice. November the 20th, which I think is Monday or tomorrow. But anyway, they begin receiving the applications from the application service, and equal consideration will be given if the application is February the 1st, received by February the 1st in 2017. Equal consideration. What does that mean? That means that everyone who got their application in for whatever program they selected will be considered equally for the first program of their first choice. Okay? It doesn't mean they'll get the program, but it means that they will be considered for the program. And if they meet all criteria, they could be the ones selected. And when you have the highly competitive programs, such as paramedic, police foundations, etc., we recommend that you get your application in as soon as possible. May the 1st is the deadline to accept an offer of admission. So everybody has to be notified one way or the other by May the 1st. And you have to say yes or no. And June the 15th is the tuition deposit to secure your seat. Now this money will then be applied to fees for the upcoming year. But to secure the seat, that money has to be, that deposit, whatever it is, has to be sent and received. Otherwise, the student will lose the seat offer, and it will go to the next person in line. The Ontario secondary school student must students must apply by the deadline and pay in order to maintain the seat. And I'd like to stress that applications are still processed after those dates, but if the spaces aren't there, they may not receive an offer. So deadlines are really important, as they are, and that's the little blurb about apply now. Deadlines are really important, as you'll see here, for the university. Same thing applies. Same principles. Late August, the electronic info went live. September the 23rd to 25th, anyone in high school in grade 12 should have gone to the fair, the university fair, and the college students should have gone to the college fair, or everybody could go to any one of them to check it out. And November, students who have applied indicated to their guidance counselor that they want to go to university will be receiving their PINs if they haven't got them already. And you need that PIN in order to communicate with the application center. January the 11th is the deadline for equal consideration. Now remember, your window with the university is much shorter than the window for college, which is open now, essentially. This one is very short, and the date is firm on January the 11th. So the application fee for application is $150 for 3 programs. You can go for additional programs at any institution that you qualify for, but it will cost $50 for any additional course. So the 3 programs, if you want to apply to 10 different programs, you would pay the $150 plus $750. 7 lots of $50, so it gets quite expensive. May the 26th, 2017 is the latest date that the admissions will be, applicants will be notified of admissions or not. And June the 1st is the earliest date required for our financial commitment to hold the seat. And again, applications received after the due dates can still be processed, but there's absolutely no guarantees that the students will get it. This is what the electronic info looks like. And anyone who is an international student, these are the organizations that do the test. If you haven't got 4 years of high school English, then most universities and colleges will ask you to take a language test. And they often have their own, or they may ask you to take one of these, or you may take one of these, but they still may ask you to take their own as well. The workplace, I think I pretty much covered the workplace before, but there can, in order to be more prepared for work straight after high school, some of these are the programs that you could have taken or should be taking in high school. So there's the specialist high skills majors. Co-op courses are excellent, not just for going into an apprenticeship, but also for building knowledge and skills in specific areas. And I actually think, as a former co-op teacher and head myself, that it really benefits students to have had this experience outside of the school setting. And sometimes, especially if they take courses in areas that they were thinking was a passion of theirs, actually being in the job and seeing what it's like on a day-to-day basis can very quickly change some students' minds, and for other students, show them that they're exactly on track without having made mistakes when they leave school. So I think actually personally think it should be compulsory in grade 11 and 12, but there you go. I'm not the Minister of Education. The job search should not be done the month after you leave school. It should be, you should be doing this, or your children should be doing this long beforehand. And The other thing is, of course, carrying on those entrepreneurial skills that they may have built while they're in high school and maybe starting their own business. There's some actions that can be done as well in conjunction. Networking, everyone knows about that one. Starting to talk to employers, going maybe to look around the area of employment that they're interested in, seeing if anyone's prepared to talk to them about the job or get to know people in the profession. People have relatives and friends, they may be interested in doing, take our kids to work in grade 9. Well, this is a more sophisticated version of that, so having them out there in the workplace. Register with employment centers, there's all sorts of fairs, workplace fairs in community settings and schools. Create your own business card, and this goes in with the use of centers and services. The TDSB also has a job fair that anyone can access. And community living, I think I touched upon. These are some websites that can provide you with much more information about that component. And this is the gap year that that many people get nervous of thinking about. But I think it serves a useful goal. I think I kind of took that myself. When I left school in England, I decided to travel for excitement and adventure and came to Canada, and here I am. So I ended up going to university here.
Excuse me,
Go
can I
back to
see
England.
for a minute?
You want me to go backwards?
Just one before, yeah.
Yeah, the one before?
Yeah, just.
Good community living? Did I skip over too soon? I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's fine, that's fine.
Are you okay now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So don't fret, folks. Your child, if they really want to learn, they will go back, okay? And I know I gained a lot of experience from doing that and really found out what I wanted to do. Doing your everybody has to do a volunteer component of their school education anyway, the 40 hours. Many students get involved in doing things that they absolutely love, and they actually continue well beyond. Some of the schools I've been in, students did hundreds and hundreds of volunteer hours because they loved being part of a hospital or part of a community group or whatever. People who you had to practically drag they couldn't graduate, some of them, because they didn't have those volunteer hours, and they swore up and down they would never go. And once they got involved, they didn't want to leave and kept on doing it. So, it can become very engrossing. We do talk about deferring and acceptance when they do get accepted into university or colleges. But my practice was finding that they weren't keen on doing that. It's always worth asking if your child is interested and gets accepted and then wants to take a gap year. It's always worth your while to ask if it could be deferred. If it's a highly competitive program, they may say no. So be prepared for that. And other learning opportunities, we always throw this one in because it is something that's really quite useful. Ontario Online Learning, the middle one there, you can actually earn courses when you do that one. But the other one is more, the MOOC, or whatever you want to call it, is to bring your skills up to par. It will give you an opportunity of taking courses and seeing what the workload is like and the kind of things that will happen, and bringing your skills back up to strength so that when you actually go apply to university or college, you don't have to do those makeup courses. These are some of the research websites that we found very useful ourselves, so we are passing them on to you. And now we're going to briefly talk about finances. And how did I do this time? Did I get through it?
1 minute over.
Oh!
He's doing very well.
Very well. I'm usually 15 minutes late. But
Can we jump back to the research website?
Oh, the research website.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, moved on too fast.
Thank you.
Welcome. So as you see, there really are a lot of places where you can continue your research. One of the main barriers, I think, for post-secondary for a lot of young people is the aspect of finances. And as parents, it's very important, I think, to speak and talk with them frankly about finances. To what extent you are able to help them with that, and to what extent they need to perhaps do a little more to make it feasible. But the government is actually going to do a lot. So let's talk about that. So when you're looking at tuition for most of the regular programs, you're looking at about $6,200, and then it goes up to $7,000 and up to $10,000 for some business programs. Lots of additional fees, so you have to pay for your student activity fee kind of thing. There's some health things that are often included and so forth. So you might be looking at $10,000 right off the bat. College is a lot less expensive, and I think a good starting point, because many students now will go to college for 2 years or 3, and then transfer on to university, and that saves you a fair amount of money, plus you get a lot more smaller classes in colleges in general. Colleges also offer degree programs, which are about the same cost as going to the university programs. So you're looking at books and supplies, and I'll talk a little bit about the additional help coming from government in a minute. If your son or daughter decides to go to college or university away from home, you're probably looking at another $10,000. So it can be rather expensive. And these are some of the things that you have to take into account in terms of costs. A useful website is called Get Smarter About Money, and you can choose college and university programs across Canada, and it will help you look not only at how much it might cost per year, but even over a 4-year period. And you can change some of these amounts. So for example, if you're living on campus, then you're looking at room costs, and in addition to the other costs that will be involved. So families are expected to help their sons and daughters with their tuition going into college or university. The advantage of apprenticeships is you earn as you learn. So you probably know about RESPs, Registered Education Saving Plans. The government will give up to $200 in addition to the money that you put in, comparable to your input. So the sooner you start with that, the more money not only might you earn through interest and things, but you will also get money from the government. There is a new thing that is now in place, and they have a workshop just next door. If you were at that earlier today, did anybody go to that workshop earlier today? Smart Money? Smart Saver? No, they also have a display downstairs.
Yeah.
So for some eligible families, the government will put in $200 towards your RESP without you even putting any money in yourself. So, and again, it depends on your family income. And you may have to take out a loan yourself. However, your best bet is with the Ontario Student Assistance Program, which includes money, federal and provincial money. Something that is new starting in September of 2017 is what is being called free tuition. Again, if the family income is about $50,000 or less, the OSAP will pay the full tuition for college or university each year. If your family income is anything between $50,000 and $150,000, you will still be eligible for loans and grants that will cover much of the expenses, but it's prorated. And you don't have to pay the loan money back until you graduate and leave school. So you can go to the website called osap.gov.on.ca. Later in in November, they will be showing what you can expect in terms of aid for the coming school year. So now the old system is still in place, but later this year. So there's an estimator for how much you might get, and also how much you may have to pay after you have loans from the government. So that's the Smart Saver program that the board has a partnership with to help parents make that application. Other things that you would consider are scholarships, bursaries, and other awards. The universities offer scholarships. Some of them are automatic depending on the average the student has at the end of their grade 12. And if your average is over $90,000, some universities might offer $4,000 scholarship automatically. Others may be less, so it varies a lot by universities. Others, they also have scholarships that require an application, and you have to look at the deadlines. Bursaries are related to financial need. These are offered again by university, by colleges, and a lot of organizations around Canada. And you need to find out what the deadline application is and fill out forms and things like that. So awards are sort of a mixture of having good marks and financial need. There is a new thing. You can redeem some of your card points towards getting some towards university and college applications. So there's information on scholarships at the electronic info and other sites like that. Here are some more general websites, including one for students with disabilities. And young people are expected also to get summer jobs or do part-time jobs to supplement their financial requirements. Okay, and back to you.
Okay, thank you. And this is just a couple of quick slides about the social emotional aspect of transitions. Now, as you know, it's well known that when we move house or when we change jobs, it's associated with a lot of stress. And so why would it not prove to be the same when our children move from one school to another, or from school to post-secondary or work? And so in fact, it's even more momentous because they're younger and they have less coping skills than we have, or hopefully have. So let's look at what we suggest. Communication. I think I've mentioned that as one of the requirements in the 21st century learning or working skills, but now we need them just to communicate with each other and with our teens or our young people when they transfer from one grade to another. And some of the common issues that are likely to be experienced during that transition, stress. And stress manifests itself in many different ways. It can be quite visible, or it can be internal. They can feel ill, they can have lots of colds, they don't want to get up in the morning, they want to sleep too much, they don't sleep at all. And so there are many different ways of manifesting and experiencing stress. Some of them are quite noticeable, such as very sad. They don't want to go to school anymore, or they're missing their friends, they're not in the same class as their friends. They're going away from their friends if they're going on to university in a different part of the province. And so there's so many different things. Depression is another sign that you may see. If they are going away, they could be homesick, especially in the early part, until they get established, make friends, get familiar with the surroundings and so forth. What we can do as their parents and caregivers and guardians is appreciate their growth and development, that they're moving on and that that many things will stay the same. You are still there. The family home is still there. They will be coming home regularly. You establish phone calls that you stick to so that, they have some continuity and something that they know will happen at a certain time on a certain day. And you might do Skype or WhatsApp or whatever it is, and all of those sorts of things. And recognize that the relationship, the family relationship, the family dynamic has changed, and that everybody is affected in some way or another. But it will settle down, and everybody will start feeling comfortable with their new roles. Generally speaking, relatively, in short order. Sometimes when it's prolonged, then it might be time for professional intervention. But your child will see you and life differently, and you will also see things differently. You'll be missing your child, no doubt, just as much as they're missing you.